I'm really thrilled to introduce my friend, Mr. Khizr Khan, to you for remarks here. Khizr Khan, who many of you know from his eloquent testimonial to the U.S. Constitution at the Democratic National Convention in 2016, is a constitutional rights and a national unity advocate and a Gold Star parent who migrated to the United States in 1980 and who attended Harvard Law School for his Master of Laws degree. He and his wonderful wife, Ghazala Khan, are the parents of 3 children, including the departed U.S. Army Captain Humayun Khan, and they reside in Charlottesville, Virginia. Mr. Khan is licensed to practice law before the Supreme Court of the United States and in Washington, D.C. and New York courts, and he specializes in a variety of law, but including commercial civil litigation, health privacy law, veterans, and women and children's rights. Recently, he is the author of 2 new books published by Random House, An American Family, A Memoir of Hope and Sacrifice, and This is Our Constitution for Middle School Students. And proceeds of both books are allocated toward a need-based scholarship that's been established at UVA in honor of his son. And he's the 2017 recipient of the Terrorism Legacy Award. But most importantly, as a personal note, I think that Mr. Khan exemplifies what we are about here today, the eloquence and the impact with which he has so publicly testified in so many different ways to the power of constitutional principles deployed, activated in a way that matters, I believe has literally inspired millions of people in many different ways. He is a widely sought after speaker. He's on the road probably almost 50 weeks out of the year. And I can say personally that his rendition of the resilience and creativity that is within American constitutionalism has inspired me, and it is one of the reasons that we are here today. And there are millions of other people who have that same story in different ways. So it really is, I don't know, I've heard him speak in several different contexts, locally and nationally, and he has many things to say on this theme. I'm very excited to hear what he has to offer today, and we are very lucky to have him with us. So, Mr. Khan.
I am undeservingly so honored to be standing before you. Believe me, since I received the invitation, I've been wondering what I could contribute to this forum of wonderful leaders. The only thing I could think is that I must pay tribute to each and every one of you. And there is a reason. But before we do that, I stand, and I'm sure you join me, in solidarity with our families in Pittsburgh, in California, and other families that have been subject of violence and extremism. I am grateful. I know there are several among us. To our veterans, thank you for your service. I am grateful to your families for their service. I am also grateful, I know you join me, in paying tribute to our men and women serving in uniform and their families among us. Thank you. I am also grateful to our law enforcement and their families for keeping us safe, for standing for us, for risking their safety for us, for our communities. I am grateful to our brave civil servants, members of Department of Justice, members of FBI, our national intelligence. We are grateful for your valor under these very difficult circumstances. You have become symbol of America's rule of law, we pay tribute to you. I also pay tribute to our civil rights leaders. We are grateful for your leadership, for the sacrifice, and showing us by example a better way to forward than extremism. So I am grateful to our civil rights leaders. Under the current conversation, I pay very special tribute to our judges, our free press. For me, free press had been the fourth pillar of our democracy. Thank you for your valor. Thank you for remaining standing, continuing to speak, continuing to write, giving us hope. As long as we have free press, we will not have tyranny in the United States. Among us, we have our young leaders. Forgive me if I lose my composure when I think of your potential and your work that each and every one of you continue to do, continue to make this nation proud. You are our hope. You're tolerant, innovative, creative, and hopeful, and active to make our world as it should be, who understand that hope requires action. Thank you for your action in the last election. We are grateful for that. Thanks to the corporate sponsors of this wonderful conversation that is taking place. I am so humbled and grateful at the same time to know that the sponsors of this event exist among us. As long as we have such leaders among us, we will remain a beacon of hope for the rest of the world. We are told that this type of extremism is caused by economic disparity during weak economy. But we don't have weak economy. We have strong economy, which is started by the efforts of President Obama. I am not hesitant to admit that. This time, violence has revealed its ugly face in many societies around the globe. We are not the only one that are going through this extremism and violence. The societies, those flourished in the last 50 years of last century under democracy, now face authoritarian, fascist dictators like Turkey, Russia, more recently Poland, Italy, Brazil, as reported by our national intelligence agencies. I want to draw your attention that there is a foreign element as declared by our national agencies, national intelligence agencies. There is a foreign element of intervention in our democracy. Incitement of violence, there is a foreign element. Extremism has this time around an element that has foreign element, that has an element by those who do not wish America well. America is an idea of freedom, a beacon of hope, and every act of extremism dims that shining city. I read the US Constitution in 1972 when I was second-year law student in Pakistan. I have been in love with this document, the Declaration of Independence. I was just sharing with my friends. I read it in 1972, and I have been in awe ever since that America was able, this blessed nation was able to declare its independence in 1772. How dare the subcontinent and the rest of the world waited up until 1940s. What was in the DNA of this nation? I came to know much later when I read the signature of those who signed the Declaration of Independence. They put their names, they put their address, they put the county and the state where they came from. It is said that they were signing their death warrants. And the reason I recite this and I say this is sometimes because we live under democracy, we take these things for granted. It's a moment to pause that to us, the freedom and liberty did not come without sacrifice. You don't have to go too far. Look at the history of civil rights. We are all beneficiary of that, the sacrifice that our leaders had to offer not too long ago. So all these freedoms that we enjoy today did not come to us without sacrifice. And I am from Charlottesville, Virginia, the city of Mike Signer, Emily Blount. I am grateful for their leadership under the most difficult circumstances of this nation, of that city. I am also grateful, and I'll explain why. I am also grateful for Honorable Mary McCord's support of our freedom, coming with her team to make sure that we continue to enjoy our freedoms, we continue to enjoy our peace. I was there August of last year. I was told not to come out of the house, stay in. I had ordered a couple of books. I decided that I will not go towards where the noise was. I will go through the medical center. As I got close to the medical center, I saw the traffic was blocked. I thought maybe there is an accident, it will clear soon. So I sat in the car, then I saw people standing outside their cars, and looking towards the blessed, sacred grounds of University of Virginia, where my 3 sons have gone to school, where Captain Humayun Khan has gone to school. They were looking towards the rotunda. And I rolled the window down and I could hear the ugliest chant that I have ever heard. You may have seen or heard on television. I was there. I came out of the car like many others, and I saw the procession passing by. It was at a distance. I saw other folks that were standing outside their cars. They began to open the doors of their cars and they sat down inside. I did exactly the same and rolled my window. I did not want to hear the ugly chants and slogans. But I was afraid for my life, for my safety. I slumped the driver's seat and I put the shade in front so I will not be recognized. I was afraid of my safety and my security. And then the procession went and traffic was cleared and we went home, afraid and concerned what is happening to our beloved peaceful city. And I knew by then that our wonderful mayor that sits among us today and his family, young family, had been making sure that we remain safe, we remain protected under the most difficult circumstances. I have since then been paying tribute to Mike Signer and his valor under the most difficult circumstances of our city, of its peace. We were led, we are continuing to be led by him. We love you, Honorable Mayor. We love your family, your young family, your twin kids. We love them. They're proud of you. We are proud of you. Charlottesville is proud of you. This nation is proud of you. Look at this crowd. They're all proud of you. That difficult moment passed. Wherever I have been traveling to, this is 238th event since then, I have been asked, how has Charlottesville dealt with the violence that we had gone through? Most of the world, most of United States does not know the outcome of what took place thereafter. We are people of rule of law. We are proud people of rule of law. Our beloved leader collaborated with Georgetown University Law Center's Institute for Constitutional Protection and Advocacy and Protection, and of course, Mary McCord. We prevailed through the litigation. And the reason I mention this is when I say prevailed, I would like to read, which I do often at most of my conversations, so that people are heartened. And the reason I cite these few lines is so that you will remember when you return to your communities. Throughout the nation, communities are looking for the answers to the difficulties that Charlottesville has had, other cities have had. I not only cite the few lines of the consent decree that all defendants signed with the help of Mary McCord, Georgetown Law Center, ICAP, and her team. I not only cite that, but I carry the consent decrees with me. It's available. This is public record. I would like you to, each and every one of you in your conversations, make sure you print it, carry it, show it to the communities that you represent. They will be heartened. And then came, here is one of the purpose of such gathering and this mission that you're part of. Georgetown Law Center prepared under Mary McCord's team's leadership and a study. I carry this with me to every community that I go, and I show it to them, and I encourage them to read it, copy it, make sure that you have it whenever there is a conversation with your city council, with your elected officials, that you have seen what resources exist. And this is titled Prohibiting Private Armies at Public Rallies. All 50 states are listed about the provisions of the Constitution and statutory laws. This is a great resource that I wanted to share. I know most of you have seen it and heard of it, but I carry it with me as I do my Constitution. You will ask, what is this continuing to speak. I know my limits. I am not a great orator or a speaker. That was inspired by our young children of Charlottesville that we reluctantly went to speak at the National Convention. But out of the consent decrees, the lines that I continue to speak about, let me read you. It will encourage you that rule of law has prevailed. This is what the consent decree says, and I'll read a couple of lines from it. The case is titled City of Charlottesville et al. Versus Pennsylvania Lightfoot Militia, Circuit Court of the City of Charlottesville. It reads, defendants are hereby, listen to the word, defendants are hereby permanently enjoined from returning or soliciting other individuals or groups to return to Charlottesville. Our rule of law prevailed with lots of difficulty, but it prevailed. And then, as part of unit of 2 or more persons acting in concert while armed with firearm, weapon, shield, or any item whose purpose is to inflict bodily harm at any demonstration, rally, protest, or march. The decree further states, further lists, with respect to any future demonstration. Look at the work of our wonderful friends at and the brilliant lawyers that were on the side of Charlottesville, Virginia. With respect to any future demonstrations, rally, protest, or march in Charlottesville, Virginia, the defendant hereby agree, listen to this, the defendant hereby agree to use best efforts to ensure that attendees do not act in concert while armed. This statement, when people hear, be it Portland or San Antonio, Texas, or Michigan, or other places, they're heartened that instead of taking law into our own hands, if we pursue our rule of law, we will prevail. That is the lesson of that litigation. You will ask me, as I mentioned, why this so many speaking engagements. I will tell you 2 quick stories why I have continued haphazardly. I barely speak correct English, but I have continued. After we came back speaking at the Democratic National Convention, we began to receive tremendous amount of mail, 99.9% of good mail, a little bit of bad mail as well. Now we can tell that this is bad mail. Earlier we could not. Post office came and told us that this is bad mail. They instructed us not to open it immediately. This is how you could tell. And that element speaks of the moral courage of those who send us the bad mail. The bad mail is identified. It will have no return address. It does not have the name of the sender. The good mail has names and addresses and wonderful things to say. In that mail, thousands and thousands of letters came. One letter came that had kept me going, that had kept me speaking. It is written by a Second World War Army retired nurse. She writes on 26 pages what she observed when she served in Germany. And on the 26th page, in last paragraph, she instructs me. She said, Mr. Khan, there are lots of similarities in today's circumstances. Continue to speak. Had more people spoken, why I am standing here paying tribute to each and every one of you, I want you to remember her letter. Mike Signer remembers that letter. Mary McCord remembers that letter. Her team remembers that letter. She says, Mr. Khan, continue to speak. Had more people spoken prior to Second World War, we could have avoided it. We could have avoided the atrocities that were committed against humanity. We could have avoided the atrocities that were committed against our Jewish brothers and sisters in Second World War. Continue to speak. Every time I cannot get up, I am so exhausted physically, I think of that last paragraph. Maybe in my broken English, maybe in my fumbling thoughts and expressions and all that, I may inspire one of you or few of you to continue to speak against this hatred, against this violence, against extremism. I was honored to be invited to Boston, city of our friend Marty Walsh, Mayor Walsh. He came to join hands and encourage me. At the dinner, I had the honor of sitting two elderly individuals, one to my right, one to my left. And I was introduced because of their age and feebleness. They both were Holocaust survivors. I was so humbled sitting among them. I paid my tribute to them. And they told me exactly same thing what that letter said to me. Whispering in my ear, Mr. Khan, continue to speak. The similarities that are existing in our country, in our communities, in our cities, this need to be stopped. And the only way we could do is continue to speak. Such forums I see a sacredness in your presence, standing before you. And the reason for that is that whether you like it or not, each and every one of you, you like it or not, your time has chosen you. Your time has chosen you because of your platform in life, like Mike Signer, like Mary McCord. Your time has chosen you. You have become the candle bearer for this country, for this community, for the nation. And you know, candle bearers do not stand on sidelines or behind. They walk front and center. Your time asks you, your constitution asks you, when you see the violation of our rule of law, when you see the hate speech, when you see the extremism and all, it is obligatory on each and every one of us to make sure that we carry the candle front and center for ourselves, for our community, for our future generation. And I am again grateful to each and every one of you for giving me this moment. And lately, the thought comes so often, and I wish to share that with you by simply saying, I have seen the sunrise on the other side of the mountain. Remain standing, remain hopeful, sun is rising. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.